in the second half of Season 11. And Raven, we're going to end up on Border.
Yeah, I got excited for Theme Park then. I saw it was still up, but no, it was the final veto. Yes, we are going to see Border, and I'm surprised because it's traditionally quite strong for Fnatic. And Elevate, in fact, rarely ever play it. I can't even think of the last time, to be honest, that I've seen Elevate play it in an official. So they must have been working on it. They might have something up their sleeve. But it's going to be tough because, like I said, Fnatic have always performed quite well on Border.
Yeah, you'd hope they have something up their sleeve. I guess Border is a map that has gradually become less and less innovated upon. Thinking back, we have seen Pittsburgh Knights earlier in the season bring some new stuff to the table, but you really have to innovate. If you're taking on a team like Fnatic who have good form on this map, have really good structure and teamwork, trying to work out something to unravel that is going to be quite a challenge.
Yeah, and they're just so well drilled on Border. I remember in previous matches, I can't remember exactly which one, but I was just blown away by the precision of their attacks on Border. They have no hesitation, and the confidence that they take map control can be quite intimidating. So hopefully that's something that Elevate are ready for, because even if they've created some innovative strats, Fnatic showed last night they're quite an adaptive team. They adapted to TBD pretty well on the fly. It was really only Villa that it was exposed, where they had it tough, but other than that, they've proven quite good at adapting before.
Yeah, and I think adaptation is something that's going to be critical between these teams for both maps. If Fnatic fall asleep a little bit in that second map and fail to adapt, I think Elevate are really going to thrive, and vice versa. It works both ways. Elevate, for me, is another team that does really bring innovation to the table when required. So if both teams take that mindset into this matchup, I think it's going to be super tight.
I totally agree, and I'm just, Fnatic being so strong on Border, I'm a little worried for Elevate considering the form they had last week against Wildcard. But of course, they've done their preparation. They're not going to let things slip through in a game like this. It's so important for them to get the first map, especially to get these points on the board, so that they can try and maintain a top 2 spot.
All right, well, we're not 100% sure which way this one's going to go. Let's bring up the poll vote and see what you guys at home think. I'm expecting Fnatic to have a decent lead in 87%. Probably not too unexpected. I mean, they are definitely the best known team in the region, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they've got that reputation for being the strongest in APAC. They had that fantastic performance at Six Invitational. They played pretty well last night. And of course, Fnatic, very recognizable regardless, even if you're into Rainbow Six, or if this is your first time seeing, that tweet pop up in your Twitter feed, Fnatic is very recognizable. I don't know how to take it, to be honest. I'm in two minds, because if Elevate show up and they improve on their performance from last week, which was really uncharacteristic in terms of this season for them, I think it's going to be much closer than what this poll really indicates.
Yeah, that's what I'm really thinking. Like last week when I was watching Elevate, it didn't really quite feel like them what they brought to the table. So I'm sure if they switch on tonight, it's going to be a lot better result than it was against Wildcard. I think the key for them will be to not get too wound up in that result. Just move on from that. This is just a whole new series. Bring the best you can to the table. Don't let sort of those past results really affect tonight. And if they can do that, I definitely think they can give it up to them for sure.
That's right. And Vast kind of alluded to that already in the interview last week after that series. He said that they had already identified the key issues and they were trying not to let it affect them. They were just going to focus on fixing those issues and moving forward, so that they were ready for this week. I like that mindset, and hopefully that has actually come to fruition here. And we'll find out pretty shortly in the first map.
Well, of course, Border is that first map. I guess let's start delving into what we can sort of expect on this map. We've alluded to the fact that it might not be the easiest map to innovate on, or a map that is least innovated on. Is there anything in particular you can think of that we could see brought to the table, or anything that the teams really need to focus on getting right to get that win?
I mean, we could see some innovation. Like you said, Pittsburgh Knights did have some innovative defense strats in a match earlier in the season. So new ops in again with Wamai and Kali will allow innovation to happen on the map, along with those other operators that we saw used. It was Goyo and Frost, the main instigators of that new strategy. So I think both these teams have probably been working on it for it to get through. Fnatic usually comfortable to let it through, but especially Elevate, for that to come through for them, you have to think they've been designing some interesting new things to try and produce a good result.
Yeah, and I guess leading on from that meta evolving, we saw last night a really strong emphasis on utility clearing. We saw defending teams bring so much to the table, and we were always emphasizing the fact that the attackers could or maybe should bring more soft destruction. Are you expecting that trend to continue tonight?
Absolutely, and it really creates a big emphasis on sixth pick and how sixth pick is used. We saw it used really effectively last night, whether intentional or not. Hiding operators like the Goyo can bait your attackers to say, oh, they don't have a Goyo, maybe we don't need as much soft breach. They might try and go for more utility in terms of maybe even an IQ. And then if you six pick onto the Goyo, they might get really caught off guard and struggle to clear all of that utility like the shields. So again, emphasis on sixth pick and even operator bans. We haven't seen operator bans target soft breaches like Zofia. So that could be another layer that might come in for Border. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I think I think operator bans are something that have become a little bit stale almost. So I'm in the same boat. I would really like to see a bit more innovation there, perhaps maybe some more Goyo bans, or as you mentioned, some attacking bans, really to mix it up and try and make it potentially even more difficult for the attackers to clear that soft breach. Or on the flip side, teams can try and get rid of some of that utility so it makes their clear a little bit easier.
Absolutely. We see a lot of Thatcher and Maverick banned at the moment on the attack. Maybe some Capitao, a couple of, Buck bans depending on the map. But that's really where it's funneled into. And that's one way you could definitely catch a team off guard, do an innovative ban, something a bit interesting. It could be a Crux operator for them that they're leaning on a lot for how their attacks work. Sometimes that is enough to destabilize a team and, throw their mindset off at the start of the game.
Yeah, well, let's hone in on Elevate because we know that their last matchup they took on Wildcard and they lost. It was Consulate and Cafe, both of them pretty strong defeats in favor of Wildcard. For you, was there any sort of in particular aspect to their game or aspects that maybe were weaknesses for them, and how can they try and improve upon that heading into this Border game?
Really seemed like a lot of it was communication. You could just see that there were areas where they were just disjointed, mistiming things on their attacks in particular. There was even one point, it happened multiple times, 1vx situations that they actually lost, where a wildcard player, there was one particular Imorin, was going for a diffuser, and there was 3 Elevate players alive. Imorin kills one close to him, and then peeks into one in the hallway and cafe. And that player should know where Imorin's coming from based on communication, but he was caught completely off guard, and that enabled that clutch to happen. And things like that at this level are just a no-go. And Elevate were in the game for that first half, but they lost so many close rounds just due to communication issues. I really believe that was just their core problem last week.
Yeah, and I guess on the flip side, let's focus in on Fnatic because they didn't exactly have the most, this is a bad choice of words, flawless days last night. They did win a map flawlessly, but then to turn around and lose Villa 7-3, it was pretty interesting to see sort of how that started to unravel a little bit. Do you think that's going to have any effect on tonight? Because we did hear Magnet bring up a couple of issues.
Yeah, and the main thing he alluded to is just their difficulty dealing with some of the aggression on TBD, making it just a little unexpected. So one example was, we're talking about the utility clearance and soft breach. There were points in rounds when they were defending that there was still utility up that they were expecting to be cleared, and that was how they were gauging their round progress. But TBD just decided to run straight past it and just go straight for the gunfights. And that really caught them off guard, and they struggled with that. Elevate can play a fast, aggressive playstyle if they really want to. They've proven that earlier in the season. In fact, a couple of rounds where they've played very aggressively. Villa was a great example early season. I think second week they played that. So if they can pull it out again, that might be another linchpin for defeating Fnatic.
Well, the match is ready and waiting. Let's jump into it. Elevate versus Fnatic. The first matchup tonight will be on Border Raven. Let's get into it.
We talked about it, the operator bans. Will we see something different, Guz? I'm really hoping that we do. I feel like the Thatcher ban's going to be quite strong though. Fnatic have the first choice, so we'll see whether they pull that out or not. It is the Thatcher ban. So not a massive surprise given the impact and how much it does actually help the defense.
Yeah, it's definitely a comfort ban for Fnatic, banning it out on many occasions this season. Elevate will follow that up with a Capitao. So no soft breach bans, Raven, which is hopefully going to make attacking a little bit better or a little bit easier.
Yeah, it really can mess you up if you have less soft breach available or having to use different operators for soft breach, because obviously Zofia and Ashe can be quite simple with soft breach, seeing as there's this launches, it's projectile. So having to use grenades, for example, requires a little more finesse or different positioning. Fnatic closing out bans with a Valkyrie, also quite common on Border. The intel very helpful, getting those outside cameras, can be really important for a lot of these defenses. So without that, it's going to make it just a little bit tougher.
I'm really excited for this matchup. I think if Elevate can bring their best form to the table, this will make for a great contest. Armory and Lockers and Archives will be the first site. Fnatic, of course, electing to go there. Pretty common pick. 6 pick coming out from Lusty as well onto Kaid. Doesn't appear as if they're bringing as much in the way of utility that needs to be cleared on this defense.
No, not in terms of things like shields. Of course, you'll have to deal with those electric claws, probably being on Armory Wall. Whether they're going to trick it or not, we'll have to see. Of course, there will be the Evil Eyes as well. And talk about an iconic combo, Aces on Maestro. The amount of big plays that Aces has had on Maestro, it's hard to count. So I'm excited to see him playing more Maestro.
I don't think we've seen him play an official with Maestro minus the ACOG. Would I be correct in saying that?
You might be right. Yeah, I can't remember exactly when his departure to the bench was, but it definitely feels like it was that long ago. So yeah, you might be right there.
Could be a slight change up for him. Obviously makes holding some of those longer angles a little bit more difficult because now you have to elect to go with the Hollow. Some going with the Iron Sight, of course. Set up at the moment though, looking relatively default for Fnatic. Not seeing anything too crazy coming out here in the first round.
Oh, and they're not really extending their hold. Some people will reinforce all of that triple wall in Office over near the hatch, but they haven't done that. They're leaving that soft. They are extending a little bit into Office. They've got the fountain walls reinforced so that they can play with a bit more comfort there. No hard roam in CCTV either, which is another common thing to do. Looks like actually they've extended vertically. Just saw Magnet below as the mute. He has a C4, so maybe playing for late round denial. Wait and see how they actually implement that.
God Legion here on the IQ doing some utility clearing. Magnet meanwhile is in server and making a late rotate there in towards ventilation. He is successful electing to hold below. He's actually got a nice angle on the entry door there. God Legion gets in a gunfight but skays away. Looks like Elevator getting relatively pushy early here, trying to get that main wall.
One thing they are going to have to be careful of is Magnet's position below, because if they want to clear that Electric Claw, they will have to, take that vertical control, and he will be able to stop that. So I don't know about their play of ignoring him. There's a lot of vertical denial that he can use, and he's made a lot of holes now, which is fantastic. He doesn't really have to retake.
Worthy sends out some grenades to try and get these Kaids off the wall. It doesn't look like it has worked though, so Elevate struggling to try and get those claws off to get the wall open. Drones will be sent out to try and locate where these defenders are positioned. But as you mentioned, Raven, all of them in really strong parts of the site. That C4 does so much damage to Vast at that range, so he's one shot now. Not at the best start for Elevate at the moment.
No, it looks like God Legion is going to be the one to try and push below onto Magnet. He does open up the scorecard with a nice shot onto Worthy. God Legion will push through for the refrag. Nicely done by him, but he has been taken low, as has Vast. So Elevate, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for the final execute. Tex is pushing aggressively below as well, catching him off guard. God Legion maybe not able to get that Electric Claw in the end. We'll have to wait and see. No, Thermite is placing it, but either way, Fnatic looking pretty good on this defense.
Been a rough round for Elevate so far, and it looks like that may continue here. Vast will enter below, but keep in mind he's so low on HP. A single bullet from Tex here will be enough to net him the kill. He doesn't seem to his left, but he flicks and he gets the shot. That's his double this round, so Red and Digital now are left to clutch it up. They have just under 30 seconds in this round. Red will push in, could potentially get this frag onto Aces, but misses the shot. He will get one, but gets refragged immediately, so Digital's now left in a 1-on-3. Gets one onto Tex and finally shuts him down as he rotates towards Office. No time to go for the plant. He needs to find these kills. Fnatic playing so passively at the moment. Aces are mentalists. They've clutched out so many rounds in their career, and this should be another one to their tally. He's going to push in, but the crossfire's there, and Fnatic will take the round.
A beautiful textbook crossfire there from Fnatic. There was no way for him to be able to push past that barrier to get both, and they played it really patiently as well. So I like that from Fnatic, well played by them. Elevate struggling a lot with that verticality that Magnet was bringing. And I like that Fnatic were able to execute that. That C4 so close to actually killing Vast. Could have had even more of an impact.
The explosive rework definitely having an impact on how some of these games are playing out. We're seeing C4s be quite effective. Player that comes to my mind was Spruce a couple of nights ago, or last night, when he was throwing them out, getting some picks, and that one there onto Vast was massive, got him super low. And I have the impression that if he wasn't so low, he may have been able to win that gunfight against Tex because of the timing, but unfortunately it just wasn't meant to be. And Elevate not left with too many options late in that round. Fnatic, they are going to head below now, but we're going to see a big extension here from the defense.
Yeah, and here's the Goyo coming out, so that's going to be some utility that will need to be cleared, and quite an aggressive looking roam from Fnatic upstairs, extending all the way through Fountain, rotate into the 90 hallway there as well. Very much going to be a bit of a top floor clear from Elevate required so that they can actually get an execute down, because otherwise Fnatic will just have too much map control.
5 seconds left before
Castle being utilized here by Mentalist. You'll be able to use those barricades to provide some extra protection above. In fact, there's quite a few interesting operators choices here from Fnatic, electing to bring Vigil as well on Lusty, an operator that doesn't get a lot of playtime in the current meta.
No, it doesn't really bring a lot of, team play utility. His gadget can be helpful, but if you think about a lot of the other operators you can bring instead. So for example, they 6-picked off the Pulse. That's a lot of really good quality intel that you can get on the Pulse that they're not getting anymore. So it just depends how you work it into the strat. Obviously, a time delay seems to be the most likely, given that it does take a lot more time to drone out a Vigil.
Worthy getting quite aggressive on that office wall. Looks like Elevate trying to gain early map control here. Gold Legion once again on the IQ, trying to find any gadgets that have been scattered around. He will use a breaching charge on that wall to make that opening a little wider. Tex still comfortable in holding this position, and Elevate really need to clear him out if they want to progress.
Yeah, one thing I didn't see a whole lot of in the first round was exactly where the Elevate drones were going. Potentially Vast might have been able to get that pick onto Tex. He actually had the jump on him. If a drone had come through and just given him that little bit of extra intel, maybe that made a difference here. So I'm a little worried with Tex's position, and even Magnet here on boost. If this hasn't been effectively drained out, Elevate could walk straight into this trap.
Magnet does reveal his position, trying to fire through that window. Tex has been revealed as well with that lifeline. Mentalist is there to support though, and they're pretty confident holding these positions. Vast though hits a really nice shot there, so that's Magnet from the boost taken out. It looks like Tex will try and counter aggress this, but he gets shot from below. Well played by Elevate. That's Vast's double in fact, and now it's a 5-on-3.
Mentalist does finally find a refrag, but this is going very much in Elevate's favor here. They're ready to trade it out. It's leaving it up to Mentalist and Lusty. Lusty still no impact with this Vigil at this stage. Playing at 90, but not actually having an effect. See whether he comes into it. Elevate are giving themselves still around a minute to work towards pushing the site. 4 of them alive with full HP. So this is looking pretty good for them.
Lusty hasn't been droned out though. This could spell disaster. He has been using that cloaking device, and here's a play vault in to his left. He will jump back out though, and now the flank's coming out from Lusty. Here's the flank watch there from Elevate. This could be a big play from Lusty. He makes his way in towards bathroom, gets one. Worthy not quite having enough firepower to get Lusty off the board. Leaving it now in a 2-on-3. Mentalist still with control above. Pinging out a player that he hears there, but Digital gets one. Leaving it at a 1-on-3. Mentalist taking damage as well. His position has been revealed. Will he be able to drop Sophia? He does. That's Red now taken out, but Vast and Digital, both with 100 HP, can surely cover the plant. Digital's going to commit to it. This could be massive though as Mentalist drops Vast. It's a 1-on-1, definitely winnable here, but Digital is able to stick the plant, leaving it in at 1-on-1. And as he drops the hatch, his position is revealed. Digital getting that kill, but around that shouldn't have been that close was in the end. Mentalist, we've seen him clutch up pretty big so far this year, but that round just wasn't meant to be.
Well played from Elevate in the end, but also well played from Fnatic on that retake. Almost looked perfect. They'd done a lot of preparation early to open those holes, and it paid dividends. Mentalist being able to take that to a 1v1 was huge, and Digital just getting that plant down, it really was a matter of 2-3 seconds, and it could have been all Mentalists. Either way, it's tied up now, Guz. 1-1. Fnatic looking to go back to the ventilation workshop bomb site.
Lusty once again will 6-pick on to Vigil, and I mean, we talked about it a little bit in the opening phase of that round, that maybe he won't have the biggest impact, but he almost enabled the clutch to occur there at the very end with that late flank. Didn't seem like Elevate were too aware of that, and I guess understandably so. That cloaking device means that he won't be spotted, or it's a lot more difficult to be spotted. And it did work in Lusty's favor, just wasn't quite enough, as the rest of that defense was dislodged there by Red. I think it was Red. Or was it Vast? I think Vast got the double, actually.
Vast got the Vast got the entry double. So nicely done by him to open it up. And the other thing with Vigil is, of course, you get the static through the floors as well, vertically. So sometimes you might have a rough idea where they are, but it could be a different floor. And if they're on a stairwell, it makes it seem like they're potentially on, the upper floor, but maybe they're not. So it can be tricky. The IQ is going to be the biggest help for that. So if Gold Legion can, identify where Lusty is early, that will help them a lot. The other thing I'm thinking here, Fnatic are dedicating so much to this top floor, potentially only one on site. Elevate might elect to just do a really quick push, take site control, and then worry about the vertical retake, because it's a lot to deal with on this top floor.
Definitely a possibility. It does look like Elevate are committing to the clear again, though. And I guess understandably so. It was quite quick in the previous round. Gold Legion once again looking to open up that wall. And it looks like it's feeling very similar to the previous round. The positions and roles for Fnatic almost identical, same on the side of Elevate. It's going to come down to who can win these gunfights early round. Once again, that wall now will be open and they try to progress in towards Office. But as you can see, Tex, he's definitely not giving up yet.
Oh, he's very much spotted on that drone. They're well aware of his position and the fact that he has multiple ADSs there. So again, an onus on using a lot of utility to clear this out. It's going to be something that Elevate have to, be okay with. They're going to be burning so much utility to clear this top floor that they won't be able to use that to prepare the execute.
Fnatic not looking to give this up anytime soon. Tex and Mental still holding above Vast. Trying to clear from below, that's a pretty smart adaptation, but Tex does get Gold Legion and a second on the window. That's the diffuser down. Magnet follows it up as well, trying to get Red. Mentalist as well, but he will be dropped. It's a 3-on-4, but Red is getting shot from every angle possible, and that's him now off the board. That was Lusty actually all the way over towards Break Room. Great angle from him, so Vast and Worthy are now left in a 2-on-4. Not looking great for them, and Fnatic can really now reset.
Yeah, I really feel like given the strength that Fnatic had in that top floor, it was always going to be tough for them. They seem quite unaware of Ace's position, but there is a castle barricade in the way, so nothing they can't deal with at this stage. They're looking to maybe go for the frags on site here. Worthy opening a nice line of sight from the supply, but Vast is going to be caught off guard, which means it is all up to Worthy now, Guz.
40 seconds on the board. This round looking like it should be Fnatic's. Worthy doesn't have the diffuser in hand, and Fnatic seem to be aware of that. He's going to use one of his 2 remaining grenades to try and open an angle in towards bathroom. And that's going to be peeked straight away there by Fnatic. That's Aces getting the final kill. Fnatic definitely a lot stronger in that upstairs hole.
Yeah, was really, really strong there in the Fountain Office area. Tex getting that double kill. Again, it really put the emphasis on that entry. We saw in the round that Elevate won. Vast got that double entry, and that was the opening they needed. They managed to have a 4 versus 2 man advantage. On the other hand, this time Tex got the double entry, ended up being a 4 versus 2 advantage for Fnatic. So that really was the difference there. And it means that Fnatic can now go back to Armory Archives, which Elevate, they did struggle a little bit.
Doesn't look like Lusty will bring Vigil on this occasion. And I guess that's because obviously you can't hold above Armory Lockers and Archives, only extend it horizontally, which we have seen Fnatic do previously.
Attackers need to locate
Expecting them to probably bring that similar offside aggression that we have seen so far. Interestingly enough though, Mentalists, they're actually reinforcing in towards Office, which we do sometimes see teams make a rotate into if they want to fall out of that position.
Yeah, it really comes down to how much you're actually wanting to dedicate to Office. The other option is, of course, doing what they've done there, the double reinforcement, and also double reinforcing Fountain. Means that you're extending out to Fountain, so you're not playing stuck in Archives, but you're not, overextending into Office. which can catch you off guard. And you also don't want to dedicate too much utility if you're trying to hold the armory side.
5 seconds remaining.
That is a very cheeky electro claw there from Lusty.
To locate a bomb and
Thank you, Observer. Great job. Just getting the edge of that wall, and maybe that's why Elevate were having so many issues in trying to clear out those claws in their very first attack on this site. They just really struggled to work out where they were, and they were just completely dislodged on that bottom floor. I wonder if Fnatic are going to have that roamer once again. We do see Magnet on that mute, but he hasn't dropped yet.
I'm pretty sure that was above the cabinet as well, so that is actually next to impossible to clear. Even vertically below, like let's say IQ, you can't shoot through that cabinet. I really like that from Fnatic, and yeah, like you said, it's no wonder Elevate was struggling with it. So I'll have to figure out what they're going to do this time, because that's what caught them out massively last time. Looks like they're just going to try and push very direct. They're already got a heavy presence at the armory wall here, looking to play a little aggressive. That Maestro Evil Eye there to deny the drones at least some kind of intel.
Once again, Elevate trying to clear these claws. It looks like they may have cleared the one on the east side, to the left of Lusty. That wall will be open. The C4 is pre-ripped from Lusty. Will he throw it straight away? He elects not to. Instead, just keeping it out, ensuring that the sound cue doesn't give it away. Not sure whether or not Elevate have seen him climb the shield. They are going to try and clear it, and they will be successful, forcing Lusty back.
I like this approach from Elevate this time. They've got that wall open, which puts the pressure onto Fnatic. They can't play around bunker. They've cleared that out as well. So now they just have to decide how they're going to deal with these other players playing in the small box, which is Mentalist, and Lusty playing back near the lockers. They also have to worry about verticality, but it's not happening the same as last time. Magnet is actually in a completely different position here.
Just over a minute on the board here for Elevate to try and go for the plan, and Digital will kick things off with that 7-second plant time. The coverage looking pretty good from Elevate. Red as well has the sandwich cross, and that plant is going to go down. All members of Fnatic are above, or up rather, but can't deny it. God Legion, he'll get two off the board. Leaving 3 members of Fnatic to try and clutch it up. He gets a triple. They can't clear him out of this position. Lusty and Ace is now left to clutch it up. Lusty gets one, but these positions from Elevate are quite strong. Digital has been dropped, so it's effectively a 3-on-2. That kill is now confirmed, but these repel positions from Elevate proving too strong. Lusty gets taken out, Aces as well. Elevate playing that post plant really well. My words at the moment are just spluttering out, but what can I say? Elevate, really strong post plant positions there. God Legion with the triple. A very clean round.
I really like what they did. Instead of playing into the palm of Fnatic's hand, trying to do that vertical clear, trying to go under to get that electric claw and really struggle with it, they just cleared what they could already. So that what was electrifying that close to the door wall, opened that, cleared out the positions that were playing around bunker, just held the small box and just planted. And that was it. It was really simple. And even when Fnatic read it with that smoke grenade, they'd already had the plant going down long enough where Digital could just stick it. And then, like you said, their post-plant positioning was beautiful. I really like the simplicity of that execute.
I almost feel like that play of planting it on the door was so simple that even Fnatic didn't expect it or just weren't aware of it, because so often we see teams try and push deep for what is, in theory, a safer plant position, but Elevate just seized on that opportunity. Fnatic just in absolutely no position to deny it. And then, of course, they played that post-plant really, really well. God Legion, 3 kills, absolutely massive, and the scoreline now will be even. It's really shaping up to be a close game, isn't it?
Yeah, basically just trading rounds at the moment, which is what we like to see out of these two teams. And at the top end of the table, that's what you hope for. You don't want to see anything too one-sided. You want to see an actual battle, and that is what this feels like. Speaking of battles as well, guys, Fnatic have really upped the amount of utility that's requiring clearing. So they brought the Goyo, 3 shields, Magnet brings a shield, Aces has 2 Evil Eyes. On top of that, they have to deal with the ADSs. So it's going to be a big, gamble for Elevate. Do they dedicate a lot to clearing utility, or do they try and save it and do something more simple?
I guess Elevate aren't short of soft breach as well, having Sophia, Ash, and Buck on the board. IQ as well to assist. So not the worst attacking lineup in response to this approach from Fnatic, but as you mentioned, it's going to definitely be a strategic call on how they try and prioritize their utility usage, because as you say, if you use it all early to kill utility, then you might have real troubles in actually getting frags and winning the round. So it's a real balancing act.
Fnatic playing this extended position here into Office. Magnet playing tucked in the corner, which we saw Tex playing in earlier rounds for a different bomb site. Mentalist there to assist, and Lusty there as well to assist. That's 3 dedicated to prevent this east push. Potentially something that they read into that Elevate might, try and adapt.
That wall into Office has been opened. Magnet and Mentalist there ready to stop any of those Elevate members from pushing directly in. Lusty as well to assist. Interestingly enough, we do see Tex as well all alone over towards CCTV, but he's not really having much action at the moment. Elevate fully committing to this push from the east at the moment.
The good thing about the way Fnatic have this set up is that they can bounce between both pushes really quickly. If they were pushing Tex, then somebody could rotate into that hallway to assist Tex really quickly. And likewise, if they push Office, they can play out a Fountain and Archives to assist that player. It's a very flexible strategy.
Fnatic just tearing apart Elevate at the moment as they try and adapt, and any attempts to go below have been shut down. Still a couple of fraggers left here for Elevate to try and bring this one back, but it's going to be a challenging round. If Fast can get the entry here, this could be big, but he doesn't see the player on boost. That will be Lusty on this occasion. His position has been revealed, but this kill will be so challenging as Lusty will see his feet first. And there we go. That's his triple for the round. Magnet closes it out. And that's a flawless round for Fnatic. The push in towards Office just completely denied.
It was a great adaptation from Fnatic. Their strat was totally different to how they'd been playing that bomb site previously. And it meant that Fnatic had, Elevate had to try and adapt on the fly, which, as we saw, just did not happen. Pushing through Office was just not going to be successful for them. Fnatic capitalizing on that, and now they've up to 3-2. But history will say that we've been trading rounds here, guys, so this could be the one that bucks the trend.
Definitely a real possibility it'll finish as a drawn half. Ventilation and Workshop will see another appearance. It's appeared quite a few times in this half. So too has that 6 pick from Lusty, once again going on to the Vigil. Elevate, hopefully a little bit more aware that that could be brought out. Or at least aware of it in the late round where they need to be critical. Watching those flanks a bit. Almost saw Lusty bring back around for his team. I think it feels like a bit of a sit rep at the moment. Both teams are just, as you mentioned, trading rounds and trying to just exploit as many small weaknesses as possible.
I think what needs to come out of Elevate for this round, because what they really struggled with, in general, in fact, I think it's fair to say, is the East push. There was one round that they won where Vast got that double entry, and that round went well. But other than that, it's been a massive struggle for them to actually take any Office control. So I want to see them try and change that up, maybe. Even if it's just pushing site, getting the picks on site, and then pulling back out. You don't have to go for the plant then. But what that does is that actually destabilizes the roamer positions. They'll think they need a retake or drop back. And then you've actually got that map control. It's just a more unique way of trying to take it instead of hard pushing.
I think the approach from Fnatic has been really quite aggressive. The way that they are just expanding this defense to almost the entirety of the map, it feels. And no matter where Elevate try and enter, they're going to interact with or be disrupted by some sort of utility or a player holding an angle. And it's got to be a little bit frustrating as an attacker, I feel, when you can't even get any ground for free, really, at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big plus side to Border being quite a small, simple map in that you can create these rotations where you can, like you said, almost be everywhere at the same time. It's just small little rotations. That one in the hallway is a perfect example from Lusty there. Being able to go between CCTV and Fountain Archives all within a matter of seconds, it makes it really hard for the attackers to pinpoint. And you have to just be confident and aggressive.
And just like that, Lusty is now found himself all the way over towards Customs. So that does forfeit control a little bit there of CCTV, but Elevate are focusing their efforts here in towards Armory. As they're just trying to get a feel of what will be the best push, but there are still Fnatic members above. God Legion with this drone should be able to spot at least one of them, hopefully. But again, wherever they go, there's a Fnatic member to meet.
Yeah, they have, they have a little bit of vertical control, but it's not the side of the map they need it. They need vertical control on the north half of the map, which is where we are still seeing Mentalist play. And they're taking quite a lot of time to do so. Almost 2 minutes ticking away, using utility on, the south side of the map, but it's not getting them that much closer to the actual bomb site.
Lusty could find himself in an engagement here. Vast just outside Passport to his left. This could be a big opening engagement and set up the rest of the round for either team. Not sure whether Vast has the intel. He doesn't, and he gets taken out. So now Elevate are at a man disadvantage. It's a 4-on-5 as that timer continues to tick down. Digital critically has that diffuser outside. Air jab goes off. That will be Jaeger taken off the board. So Elevate doing a decent job here at keeping that man count 4-4.
Yeah, but there's one in customs that they probably are completely unaware of.
No.
Right next to the Nomad. Doesn't quite get the kill. Finally secures it. It's Lusty. That's another one. It's all falling apart for Elevate now, guys. 1 versus 4. Mentalist finishes it off. Strong round from Fnatic in the end on the back of some real struggle to collect intel on the side of Elevate.
Unfortunate there for Elevate. The slightest mistake costing them this round and any chance of evening out the half. I must say though, I think a 2-4 scoreline after attacking border on or against Fnatic isn't the worst result, especially considering how aggressive that hold was from Fnatic. I think it's probably the most aggressive we have seen from ANZ so far.
It was quite aggressive and very free form. We highlighted a lot about the rotate holes and the map control that Fnatic just constantly maintained. Really did make it hard for Elevate to deal with, and the times we saw them deal with it pretty well. One was off the back of a good entry, so of course that helps because then you've got a man advantage, but the other was just keeping it simple, and I think that is something that Elevate could have leaned into more because they kept trying to do these clears and gain huge amounts of map control, but Fnatic were just always there and always willing to take them up on the gunfights.
Let's highlight Lusty though for a second. Currently going 10 kills, 1 assist, 3 deaths. A massive half for him, and proving that Vigil definitely can have an impact here in competitive matches. Causing a lot of issues there for Elevate in the first half, and definitely a dangerous opponent. We could, if this form continues, even see him get 20 kills, which in a single map would be absolutely massive for him and his team.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and Lusty seems to be having a lot of big matches lately. We saw him at SI, he went pretty large, and leading up to that, he's been going large as well. So really in form at the moment. The other thing, like you said, Vigil having a place in competitive. I think especially on border, Vigil is great because playing that position in 90, it's really hard to pinpoint exactly where he could be because it's a tight hallway. And there's a lot of common spots that someone could sit, near that hallway. He could be in Fountain, could be where Worthy is now, or he could actually be in the hallway. And they're 3 very different locations.
Fnatic taking control of the roof here. This is something that we didn't see Elevate do. Well, not that I can remember or at least saw. Expecting Magnet with those grenades to try and flush out any players that could potentially be below. One of those is Vast, but he is playing Wamai, so he's probably throwing out some magnets which will disrupt that attempt. Magnet with some interesting soft destruction there on the roof, trying to get a cheeky angle here in towards Office. Will he be able to net himself a kill though?
Well, this is a good way to be able to chuck the grenade down to that spot that you play tight. It's often referred to as sandwich. It's where Vast is playing right now. That frag grenade gets a perfect little loop into that corner, which can be a bit harder to do the rebound on. Looks like that's what he's going to be going for. And Vast is going to have to be very careful here because there's only so much utility that his magnets or even ADSs will catch.
Magnet will have his first grenade disrupted by a magnet, but the second it will go through and drop Vast. So it's now a 4-on-5, and that offers control from Elevate ultimately forfeited. We do see it Worthy with an angle in towards that location, but Fnatic should be able to gain control here. And this is a part of the map that we definitely saw Elevate struggle with at times on their own attack.
Yeah, and besides Vast playing Deep Dead, there was no one else for support. And I mean, no one was going to save him in that situation unless God Legion could produce another ADS or something like that. So that was, well played by Fnatic, but Elevate are going to be giving them a lot of control early now with a whole minute to go. That's going to be pretty easy for Fnatic to push through and start opening that wall if they want to use the Maverick, or just push straight through Fountain.
25 seconds left on the board. Red expending a smoke grenade there on top of himself. As Magnet, I believe, is below. Maybe trying to get an angle on him. Playing quite passively, but Mentalist will get aggressive, and that pretty much signals the start of this attack, but Digital slows it down with his double. Magnet's trying to clear him out from below, but he will survive. Just over 20 seconds left now, but unfortunately for Elevate, God Legion will be dropped. Digital low on HP as well. Worthy will probably need to come up big this round for his team. Not long left, and there we go. Worthy from the bottom of Metal will get one to even out that man count, and he could go for denial from below. Digital needs to try and hold smart here. He does. That's Lusty off the board, so now Tex needs to get 2 kills. He gets the first, but he doesn't have time. He has to commit to the plant. Do Elevate have the intel? It looks like they might. Worthy is going to try and go for the floor bang. No, he'll go for the C4. That'll spell the end of the round. The bomb doesn't go down, and Elevate will get the dub on this round.
Oh, guys, I was on the edge of my seat there. That was point something of a second away from that plant being confirmed. I actually thought that Worthy might have been just a quarter of a second too late, but he got there. Nicely done by Elevate. And got to highlight Digital coming up huge with a triple, I believe it was, on the round. And it really saved it for them because Fnatic had site control. It was Mentalist in the archives, and he had a player backing him up from the hallway. So it was on. If Digital wasn't able to secure those kills, round over, Fnatic would have had that. So great job from him on the Maestro.
Yeah, and he was on so low of HP as well. I think that shield as well at Beepers definitely assisted and made that angle just a little bit too awkward there for Fnatic. Either way though, Fnatic do still have the lead 4-3.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
I definitely can see this heading to a 4-4 draw. These teams definitely evenly matched, and I guess the question is, at least for you, Raven, did you expect Elevate to be as strong on this map as they are? Because you did mention that Fnatic are quite well versed on this map, and I definitely think that their defensive setup showed that they were prepared.
Yeah, and that was always going to be the dark horse aspect of it. They have previously barely played Border. I know they don't really like Border in general, so the fact that they've prepared it creates that uncertainty. It's like, how much is their preparation really going to help them match a team like Fnatic on this map, where it's notoriously been one of their better maps?
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
The action phase for round number 8 will now commence. Remember, the stakes for this match are paramount, really, to the standings at the end of Season 11 here. If Elevate manage to win both maps tonight, they will jump Fnatic in the standings after they lost to TBD last night. So Elevate definitely pushing hard here, trying to claim number 1 here in ANZ.
So far, Fnatic just taking their time. I was expecting maybe some more, aggression out of Fnatic, because I've seen them play very swift on this map in their attacks. So far, not happening. I say that though, Magnet does get a nice entry there onto Vast in that first minute, which is going to hurt Elevate quite a lot. Is in the Archive's position, catching him out on the rotate, it looks like. The other player here is Worthy, deciding not to try and push out for a refrag. Actually going to rotate back towards Red, so they can play a bit closer together. Try to burn a little bit more time.
We saw Fnatic last night. Once they had the impression or had the feeling that they had that advantage, they just switched on. They flicked a switch, played super aggressive, and never really gave TBD, at least on the first map last night of Coastline, that chance to get back into a round. So definitely expect if Fnatic get another pick here for it to really turn up. Tex almost getting that kill onto Worthy, but he drops the hatch. Still has 75 HP spare and can rotate back to site.
Red's just going to sweat it out a little bit more in the locker sandwich there. He's right near the window. Probably going to get droned out very quickly here. The nice piece of intel from Magnet moving forward though. Ooh, careful with the Mozzie Pest. It's a matter of what Red's going to do. He could try and stay here a bit longer, but it's going to be very easy for his position to be spotted, and you'd expect that's about to come out. He's actually just going to yeet it out the window. He's going to rotate back in the vents. And that means that the top floor control has been given to Fnatic.
Magnet with that Buck Skeleton key, displacing members of Elevate below God Legion. Under the pump a little bit, and Magnet going prone to try and find that angle. He won't quite net himself the kill, as Tex is going to enter from waiting room. He's alongside Aces, who critically has the diffuser in hand. Aces will bring out that blowtorch and begin to create some angles, and it's definitely getting the impression that there's nowhere safe for Elevate to sit now as there's 30 seconds left in this round. Gold Legion and Digital as well, Raven all the way over towards Customs. It's not looking great for them. Red though, he gets one to even out that man count. Mentalist is always also really low as well. Grenades coming out now as they try and enter in towards the side. Aces has hit a goo mine. Will need to pull that out before he goes for the plant. He is going to commit to it though. Magnet and Mentalist need to try and cover. Mentalist, he gets one. Here's the denial here from Elevate. Do they know that the plant's going down? I think they do, but they get taken out, and now it's Gold Legion left in a 1-on-3. Make that a 1-on-2 as he does drop Aces. Keep in mind, Mentalist is still really low on HP, but critically they have control above. Gold Legion may attempt to long arm this bomb. Does Fnatic have the angle? I believe Magnet will. Gold Legion looking like he might commit to it though. It's 7 seconds to counter defuse it, but it's going to be too long. Mentalist will clean up that kill and Fnatic will take the round.
Yeah, I was feeling like it might have been a possible clutch there if God Legion had hunted down Mentalist, considering his HP was very low, but that vertical position from Magnet was always going to be the tough one for him. He would have had to hit a very hard shot through those bars. I like the setup from Fnatic. They had it perfectly in that vertical control, seeing as Elevate forfeited it to them. Was always going to be hard in a post plant. All that Elevator needed to do was deny that planter. He was actually low HP. I wondered whether Worthy might have still had maybe an impact in the pocket, but potentially not. Nice round. It was pretty close in the end, so really true to form of what this match has been like. Fnatic edging forward at 5-3 Guz, which means they're only one round away from at least securing 1 point.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Definitely not the result that Elevate want. Fnatic do take this round and secure themselves a point. Elevate will need to push hard to try and draw the map out. And even then, Elevate will then need to beat Fnatic on the map afterwards to try and propel themselves up the standings. Draws really aren't going to work for them so late in this season. Hopefully they can bring something to the table here to try and swing momentum their way.
10 seconds to go.
And if Fnatic end up winning both maps tonight, it does take away a little bit of excitement, but there's still some pretty interesting math that can happen. So if Fnatic win both maps, they're pretty much set in first place. What will be super interesting is wildcard and how that plays out, because they will have Fnatic in the final week, and they'll need to win both of their maps to try to get into top 2. But likewise, TBD and Elevate have each other in the final week. They're battling out in second and third at the moment. So it's really going to be that battle for second place if Fnatic do actually close out these first 2 maps.
We are going to see reinforcements here on the office wall, but similar to last round, or even lesser than last round, is the presence inside of that location of the map. Just no one sitting in there. Fnatic pretty confident in approaching office, knowing that it's likely clear. It looks like maybe Elevate going for a slightly safer hold this round.
It was Vast that got caught out in that position last time for nothing, really. And given that we've just ticked away through the first minute and they haven't lost a player, it's already a better position for Elevate than the previous round. We got the other 2 playing around Armory. It was Red and Worthy. So it's quite a similar strat to what Elevate did last time. Maybe they've identified a really key thing that they just said, you know what, if we just fix this, we could have had that round.
Interestingly enough, their text I saw was, I believe, going 5 and 6. So not the greatest map for him at the moment, but I think overall it's been quite a well-rounded effort by Fnatic. He hasn't really had to do a whole lot of fragging, as the entry does feel pretty balanced across Fnatic. It doesn't necessarily feel like they have a particular player or 2 dedicated to that aggressive opening in towards the map. It feels like it's a really cohesive effort at the moment.
A good entry, or opening kill I should say, from God Legion there in Elevate, which is going to change things a lot. That's Lusty, the informed player that we talked about. He was fragged out in the security room there. Nice intel from Magnet, just trying to catch these rotates. And they are going to start dropping below. So Elevate forfeiting that vertical control, but they now have a man advantage. So that's a massive difference compared to what happened last round.
Just a little prick.
Aces will use those nades to try and clear out any players inside of Workshop. From what we saw earlier, it doesn't look like anyone is playing in that position. That's both frags used now, and Aces will need to set himself up for the plant. There's only 30 seconds left. This round going by very, very quickly. Red is flashed on site, but he'll be safe for the moment. Elevate with really strong positioning over towards the west side of the map. Magnet, though, critically is holding positions over towards the east. That entry, though, is denied, so that's a diffuser down for Fnatic, and they'll need to try and get it back. Mentalist, he's trying to enter Passport, but could be taken out by a player inside of Customs, as Tex will now attempt the plan. It's a 3-on-3 with Mentalist winning that fight, but that Evil Eye causing so many issues here for Fnatic, just delaying the inevitable, and they will win the round in the end. Elevate with a much stronger defense there on the 9th round. Oh my, Tex having so many issues with that Evil Eye. Vast playing that very well.
And that's all it takes, is one little thing. Fnatic, it was beautifully set up for that to execute. They had the clearance that they needed. They had crossfires, vertical control. One small thing that they missed, that Evil Eye and that beautiful little angle, it changed the round. Elevate, I like that strat. Closing it out, bringing it back now, guys. We're really tunneling close in towards a draw here. I kind of feel that would do justice to the map so far.
Definitely been a back and forth. We've only seen one team win 2 rounds straight in this matchup. That was the 5th and 6th round, where Fnatic were able to end their attacking half quite strong, or their defensive half rather, quite strong. But as you said, there's been a lot of trading of rounds so far in this matchup. So much on the line. Both teams in a position to finish first here in ANZ after tonight. Neither team wanting to give up those critical points that will propel them into that position.
Big differences on the scoreboard being that nobody on Elevate is necessarily popping off, as opposed to the side of Fnatic, where we see Lusty out there on 11 kills. Much more spread across the board on Elevate. It kind of indicates, you know, how they play. If you look at their roster, I mean, most people point out God Legion is usually the one that does frag out for the team, but not as much this season, and it definitely has been spread out more. And whether that's working for Elevate or not, I'd have to say it probably is, because besides last week, they've had some really, really good matches and really strong performances.
The final touches of this setup being made by Elevate, who are extending somewhat off site, but I'd definitely say it's less aggressive, or at least less expansive than we saw from Fnatic, who really were attempting to take control of the entire map, or at least deny entry into the entirety of the map. Elevate, though, do seem a little more content in forfeiting that, playing a little bit safer on site. 3 players stacked in Fountain at the moment, as they are still putting the final touches on that prep.
We're just going to come down to the opening kill, I think, because when Elevate were able to maintain man control until mid to late round, it's looked really good for them. But when Fnatic have had that opening kill, whether it's 2 or even a single, it's just made it so tough for them. Elevate can just hold on, give themselves that foothold coming into the late round. It's going to be really key. And God Legion's actually lurking around in office there, maybe looking to do some kind of flank.
Definitely a player to keep an eye on. Fnatic may well be able to shut down that flank, but Red shuts down Aces. Once again, he will drop the diffuser, this time outside the main armory wall. Elevate may not know that the diffuser has been dropped. Of course, there's no point notifications here in Pro League. So unless they have seen it drop physically, they may not be aware. Either way, though, critically, the wall will not be open now. No hard breach left for Fnatic, and it'll make this entry pretty tough.
That's exactly right. It means they are going to have to funnel through the doorway, and they seem unaware that Red has retaken bunker there behind the half wall. And oh, that's a nice Ash charge? Yeah, Ash charge below onto the Maestro. Digital had a big impact last time that Elevate held Armory, so that could change things quite dramatically as well for Fnatic.
Have recovered their diffuser.
Fnatic really forced to try and get an aggressive entry here. Red is aware of that and will reposition. He is safe on this wall, remember. It hasn't been opened by Fnatic, and he's able to sit there with that shotgun, hold a tight angle in towards the only real entry point over to this side of the objective. Drone's being taken out as well by Elevators. They try and deny as much intel here as possible for Fnatic, but Magnet will get a kill there onto Worthy, so Mozzie now taken off the board. Could well get another one, but Tex will be shut down. Kills coming out from Elevate. We'll make it a 2-on-1, and the final kill coming out as well there to even out the round count. God Legion inside of Office goes big there in the end. What a play from the Jaeger. Rocking the Elevate charm as well. OG. The OG Elevate charm as it is. Hopefully they get a new charm with the slightly updated logo, because I must say it is quite a nice one.
It is. And like, I don't know about you guys, viewers at home and you guys, but I really found myself starting to hold my breath a little bit towards the end of that last round. It's getting very hectic, 5-5, and given the stakes of this match, it's becoming very, very exciting. I'm glad that it's playing out like this. There's one thing if there's nothing more disappointing than top two teams battling out for these points when it's an absolute smacking. That sucks. So this is. Are you
referring to the flawless win for Fnatic against TPD last night?
I mean that is at the time. That is one instance. That wasn't exactly what I was referring to, but that is definitely a good example. And right here also interesting, fresh bomb site from Elevate. We haven't seen them hold customs yet, so this could be something that catches Fnatic off guard, or it could be a big weakness for Elevate. We talked about their, inability or unwillingness to play this map, I should say. So to have 3 viable bomb sites to them is probably going to be quite tricky.
5 seconds.
Well, we haven't seen Elevate defend this objective, and we haven't seen Fnatic either. So this is the first time we are going to see it played by these teams here tonight. Of course, the winner of this round will net themselves at least the draw. That's a minimum of 1 point. Elevate, of course, pushing for that win as hard as possible, knowing that that will give them the best chance to finish first here in this season, potentially. Fnatic, though, they're definitely not going down without a fight. Definitely been a sweaty game across the board.
And you know what? Elevate will not be wanting to go for a draw because, as I was saying in the pre-show, 3 out of the last 4 times these teams have met, it has been a draw. So Elevate really want to be chasing these W's, finally getting over the top of Fnatic and getting the 3 points against them.
Well, Gold Legion kicks things off nicely. He did get the opening pick there onto Magnet, who's had quite an impact so far in this match. And on an objective like Customs, being able to shut down that Skeleton Key could prove massive, as now they will have to rely on the remaining soft breach. They do have quite a bit of it though. If Lusty's running breaching charges, we also have Tex and Magnet on the board. But it does look like Fnatic could be going for a horizontal take at the moment.
Going to require a bit of extra manpower to take vertical. Security has been given up, but there are some nice holes that Worthy can actually play from the armory side there. And he's Doc playing the ACOG, so it would be very comfortable for him to do so. Fnatic maybe not wanting to push that. Like you said, maybe just trying to do that horizontal push. Droning out site quite early to see where they're sitting. And seeing that actually Elevator playing quite deep in Customs.
Not too much action in the frag department after that opener. All players left are on 100 HP. This wall's still being probed by Fnatic as they try and find a pick, but Elevate playing very disciplined at the moment. That's a risky position to be jumping on that drone if Tex gets wide peaked. But as I mentioned, Elevate continually playing quite passive here. Tex will get that pick eventually though. The C4 comes out. Both players will survive though. Tex gets his double. That's a big pick in towards Passport. Red eventually will shut him down though, leaving 40 seconds on the board for Fnatic to go for the plant.
Lusty has pushed into detention as well, so he's the one that can counter push. This could be the undoing of Elevate if they're unaware completely. Red is the one in the box position. Aces gets a nice pick on a God Legion, putting Fnatic in a good spot for the final 30 seconds, guys.
He tries to enter in towards site, but he's denied. The diffuser dropped in the process. Lusty with some trigger discipline there. Will not shoot that rotating defender just yet, but the call should come out. They have 15 seconds now to try and rotate, collect that diffuser, and execute the plant. That defender now inside of Passport will be hunted down and is, leaving it all up to Worthy to try and deny the plant. Mentalist holding that angle with the ACOG as Lusty will stick it. The rotate comes out a little bit too late. Unfortunately, the angle can't be produced. And Worthy now will need to play for the post play. The flank comes out though, and he gets both kills. The double kill for Worthy, absolutely massive. And Elevate will draw the get match point rather. 6-5. What a flank there from the Doc.
Oh my lord, guys. What a match we're seeing, and a nice double from Worthy. Just happened to get them on the lineup. A little unfortunate for Fnatic. I liked the pinch play for them to be able to secure the plant, and Worthy on the retake. It was unfortunate timing. I thought he might have had it at the double door, but still securing it. And Elevate, match point. They will be able to go back up to top floor, I believe. Might be Vents. Either way, it's a side that they have won before. And this will be Fnatic's last chance to save the round. What a play.
Just lining up there to be cleaned up. And Elevate now in the perfect position to defeat their demons and finally beat Fnatic in the Pro League. As you mentioned, they've definitely drawn with them a fair few times. And there couldn't really be a better time to beat them here, as we keep suggesting this is their perfect time to try and edge them out in the standings and get on top of ANZ.
Exactly right. If Elevate do manage to get the double win here, it means that Fnatic and Elevate will be finally equal on matches played, because Fnatic had played more matches than most of the rest of the card until recently. And it does mean that Elevate would be 2 points ahead of them coming into that final playday. Very interesting for the standings. This final round will make, let alone the next map. Elevate gonna have to dig deep. Ventilation. 1-1 lost one. And the one that they did win was, of course, down to that big Evil Eye clutch.
One thing interesting to note as well is Lusty's kills. He's on 12 at the moment. Still got the most in the lobby, but he was on 10 heading into the half, so definitely had a quieter attack here compared to his defense for Fnatic. Could come down to his role on this map. Obviously a little bit hard to dig into. It's still interesting to note that he hasn't had the biggest impact in the fragging department come this second half.
Elevate have made some adjustments. It's Digital playing the Rook over in Customs. Changing it up a little bit there. God Legion playing more aggressive in Archives as well. They've got that rotate, which they didn't have on the previous round that they ended up winning. And it was the round there Vast was fragged up pretty quickly, and they lost due to that rotate hole. So I have to see whether they play it differently. Fnatic look very much aware, and they're taking this pretty swiftly. I see drones around a lot, and they're getting most of this vertical control.
Magnet now will enter in towards officers. In the last round, he was picked up quite early, and Fnatic had some issues in adapting. On this occasion, though, he's now made his way in towards Fountain. There is still some presence from Elevate above, namely Red inside of Sandwich. But it looks like Fnatic are trying to hunt that down. Lusty sending in a drone, and Red could be under a bit of pressure soon.
I love that it looks like Fnatic instantly prioritized clearing that Evil Eye. The one that cost them that previous round. I like that. Worthy on a flank here though, guys. Potentially undetected. Might be able to catch Magnet off guard. He does, so that's a nice refrag there. God Legion finds another. Elevate putting themselves in the position to win here with this man advantage. Coming close to the final minute of the round and the map.
Aces still having the diffuser in hand over towards Tellers. We've often seen him enter in towards Bathroom and try and attempt that plant onto Workshop, but without as much vertical presence, that will be a little bit harder to shut down. And again, we are going to see a very disciplined hold from Elevate. Definitely spread out at the moment. However, they do have that man advantage, which will prove critical.
Until still being able to open up the floor quite heavily could be a difficulty that Elevate struggle with. Worthy is still up here, ready for a flank. He's going to push around, and I'm not sure whether Fnatic are aware of this yet again. This could be the round if he manages to get a pick. Oh, he's cut off though. Nicely done by Lusty, potentially on a drone. 20 seconds now, guys. This could be the map.
Lusty almost gets a second, but Vast somehow manages to win that gunfight. He's low on HP and will surely be taken out. He does. And now Digital and Gold Legion are left to try and win this round out for his team. Mentalist, as he enters, gets lit up. Will he be dropped? He will, leaving it all up to Aces. We've seen him just join this roster. Can he clutch up big here for Fnatic? He doesn't have the time. He gets the down, but it won't be enough. And Elevate will take down Fnatic. And Raven, this is setting up to be such a great series for them. Possibly finishing first in ANZ if all goes to plan. They've set themselves up so nicely here. Man, I love Super Week.
Oof. I don't know about you, but I stink a lot
I am
after that
sweating.
game.
I am
got pretty
sweating,
sweaty.
man. Yeah.
Oh my lord. That was a great match, and that was only the first map. We still have another map from these two to go. Let's deep dive into that result. A really great round from Elevate at the end there, off the back of a great flank from Worthy early to get a really important refrag onto Magnet. Not only because Magnet was on the buck and that vertical play had been so